Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli, and I am a writer, also an author, and yes, there is a difference. This is a brand new channel that I'm going to do. I've got another channel on YouTube called Vigorelli Integrated Medicine, and there I talk about things like Chinese medicine, Chinese astrology, feng shui, and get into in-depth discussions with that. But this channel is going to be exclusively for my other life, which is writing. I enjoy writing. I've actually been a writer since I was 7 years old. I entered a short story contest when I was in first grade, and I won. Yeah, it was maybe 200 or 300 words. It was tiny, but had a beginning, middle, and end. Things made sense. It was pretty good, actually, for, a 7-year-old. I just came up with it. It was fantasy. It's about me and my friends meeting a shapeshifter. It was pretty cool. So, let's talk about genres. Why not? Stuff that I like to read and like to write. Most of what I write is fantasy, sci-fi, because it's easy. At least I think it is. There's a bunch of subgenres in that. It's also the stuff that I like to watch. I enjoy the comic book movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mwah, chef kiss, love it, it's beautiful. Not so crazy about the DC stuff. That being said, the DC animated movies I really like. I like those a lot more than the Marvel animated ones. I just think they're better put together. The main genres of sci-fi fantasy that I really like kind of depends on what we're talking about. Not so crazy about vampires, but that's just the Romanian in me talking. Werewolves gotta be the right way. I really liked The Order. I just finished watching that last night. Really good. What was that night before? I forget. This whole quarantine thing's got all of my days running together, so it's driving me crazy. Apocalyptic stuff, that needs a lot of work in our culture, I think. One of the things that drives me nuts about apocalyptic culture in sci-fi fantasy is we only talk about how things are after everything's fallen apart. And half the time it doesn't make a lick of sense. Badlands, I'm looking at you. The geography made no sense. The physics made no sense. I was so confused. And it was like character motivations were... I don't understand. Okay? I am working on a series that is going to be The World Falls Apart. First part of the story is how the world dies, and then the rest of the ongoing series is going to be how the world rebuilds itself and what that looks like. I'm taking a lot of cues from actual history, the way humans behave, the way biology and physics behaves, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so I'm working on that. Not quite sure what to call it yet, and we'll go from there. Another sci-fi that I like is the fantastic sci-fi. It's where you get into, yes, it is sci-fi in that there is change in a society, and I'll talk about that later in another video, but there's fantastic elements in it, like magic, or some kind of weird biological trait that makes this group of people do this thing. And I've actually written a book on that, and that is something that I'm going to be publishing soon. Most likely self-published, because for some reason agents just don't want to talk to me about it. I'm willing to bet full plate, maybe, because it's kind of hard. One guy can only do so much, So, I do like those. One of my favorites in that regard is The Magicians. Loved the show on Sci-Fi. It was amazing. I watched every single episode. Also, Jake Taylor is gorgeous. My kind of girl. Anyway, the books, I've read the first two. I'm going to be starting the second one very soon. Excuse me, third one. Wow. I'm going to be starting the third one very soon, but there's numerous departures from the book to the show, and honestly, I think those departures were better. There's things that are in line in the series with the first two books, you know, roughly-ish. I can see where they were getting their inspiration, but there's numerous differences, and I prefer the show to the books. I do not say that very often. Okay? Of course, now we have to talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, which kind of depends on my mood. Star Trek is sci-fi with fantasy elements, and Star Wars is fantasy with sci-fi elements, and another video on that altogether. Oh my goodness, that thing gets muddy. That gets so muddy as to what is the difference, and we'll talk about that. I do like them, kinda, sorta. As far as Star Wars goes, I'm a little bit more of a Legends fan than the straight movies are. Original trilogy, hands down, over any of the others. Have not watched The Mandalorian, mostly because I don't have Disney Plus. Sue me. Star Trek, my favorite series is Deep Space Nine. I'm working on getting the DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever they're going to be in for my personal library, just in case I get a hankering and I can't find it on a streaming service or online or whatever. My absolute favorite episode of Deep Space Nine is In the Pale Moonlight, where Captain Sisko, who's, by the way, my favorite captain, the guy's so good, he goes like super on dark side in order to accomplish something that needs to happen. It's one of the things that I like about Star Trek is it looks at ethics and morality from a real-world perspective. Another video on that. Yeah, I'm already coming up with ideas. Look at this. Okay. My second favorite one is Duet. That is where Major Kira interrogates an alleged Cardassian war criminal over something that he did in a concentration and labor camp, and the villainy of it and the morality of it is just an amazing story. It's actually taken from a real case of a Israeli hunter, I believe back in the 60s, that found an escaped Nazi war criminal. I want to say in like Lebanon or something he was hiding out. They captured him and interrogated him, and you'll have to search on that one. Really interesting case study. And from what I remember from it, they took bits and pieces of it and then twisted it around a little bit. So we've got that. My absolute favorite true sci-fi is Stargate, SG-1. Awesome! It's also one of my favorite movies, Stargate. I saw that when it came out when I was 10 years old. Parents took me to see it. I loved it. Oh my god. So good. And then when I finally got the chance to watch the series, I was in love. It's amazing sci-fi. It takes the fantasy aspect of it, you know, aliens burrowing into your head and making you evil, and adds in politics, morality, ethics, with really awesome tech. They actually use real science in it, instead of, well, it's because I said so, because awesome science word. That's why I loved it. Atlantis, very, very close in there. Stargate Universe, it was okay. Bit darker, and I'm not a fan of shaky cam. That's why I'm not a big fan of Battlestar. Yeah, I get the morality and ethics, religion crap of Battlestar. The camera work and directing drove me crazy. So, anyway. I also like sci-fi that's kind of whimsical. So, a lot of you are going to hate me for this. I'm a huge fan of Eureka and its sister show, which was established on Sci-Fi Channel with a bunch of crossovers, of Warehouse 13. I enjoyed it. Those were good shows. They jumped the shark a couple of times, and that's why people got upset, but anyway. The Librarians was kind of cute, but really convenient in some of the writing, I thought. Also with those two sister shows, it was very formulaic, especially when it got to season 3 on both of them. It was have a problem, smart people do things to fix problem, blows up in their face, come up with an unbelievably simple and convoluted solution to both previous problems. Everybody's happy. Guys, you gotta do better than that. Which is why both of those shows kind of fell apart. Lost Girl was fun for the first season, and then the second season was, okay, I'm still in. Third season was, you need better writers, and fourth season wasn't really a season. So, alright. So, one of the things I'm going to be talking a lot about on this channel is a lot of things that drive me crazy in the writing and publishing community. Things like passive voice, characterization models, plot models, tropes, cliches, you know, all the stuff that you see on a channel like this. And you're going to have to watch to see whether or not I agree with a general consensus on anything. Spoiler, I probably don't. So feel free to @me and leave comments in there. You can yell at me, I don't care. If you want, you can find me on Twitter at Vim and Vigorelli. And also here. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment. Leave all the comments you want. I want to get a discussion going, guys. Because that's how we learn things. Okay? Now here's the thing. If you only parrot back what you know, and you're not willing to listen to anybody, you ain't gonna learn nothing. Okay? So if you come up with a really good idea for me, cool, thanks. I'll use it. I can change. Okay? I hope you can do the same too, if I come up with something for you. Alright? So, I'll be back later with another video. Bye.